Okay, we are here with Keegan Cahanes, the master of horror. We did a podcast together a while back during the pandemic, and he was the only person I wanted as my first guest on the YouTube channel because
Oh,
yeah,
thanks, buddy.
yeah, and as everyone knows, Keegan's favorite movie is The Sound of Music. As you see behind him. Oh wait, no,
No,
wait,
no, it's
it's
Jaws, all
Jaws.
Jaws, all the time. Yes.
I love it. That's great. I mean, I got my Jurassic Park thing. I got a little bit going on there. It's hard to see,
Yep.
but
Oh yeah.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I got the Jaws shirt on underneath, so it's well represented.
This is why we are movie brothers, because my favorite movie is Jurassic Park and yours is Jaws. So we are children of Steven Spielberg, you would say.
Yeah, and my wife's favorite movie is E.T. That says a lot about me.
Yeah,
I guess.
well, it says a lot about Spielberg, you know.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about horror movies because Keegan knows everything about horror movies. First, we're going to talk about our top 5 horror movies from 2024, and then we're going to look ahead to the coming year, this year, the 25, about some of the movies that we're looking forward to. All right, so let's get right into the list. What is your number 5 from this year, past year?
All right, so my number 5 is Longlegs. Actually, I thought this was just a great new take on the classic FBI agent serial killer motif. It was Sounds of the Lambs, but with a bigger twist to it, with a little more supernatural. And I mean, we are in the heart of the Cajassance right now, and this is one of his
one of many
gem
songs.
performances.
The man has many songs, you know.
It's true, but I mean, the past few years, we've gotten Pig and The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and this, and he's just wait, what am I forgetting? Mandy. He's doing these genre films, but he seems more picky than he used to be.
Dream Scenario, another one.
Dream Scenario, yeah.
I feel like maybe this has something to do with, in the early 2000s, I think he was doing those, any action movie, everything. I think those people who grew up, making fun of Nicolas Cage, but also liking him, grew up and now are making movies and now are finding the right, they go, oh man, they used him so well in The Rock or Leaving Las Vegas, it's, so... They're finding ways to use him again, but yeah, he loves the genre movies as well. It was my number 2 movie.
Nice.
Okay, so my number 5 is In a Violent Nature. Scream is my favorite slasher franchise, or favorite horror franchise, I should say. And this is a great new take on the slasher. You're just following around the slasher's POV. Keegan, did you get a chance to see this one yet?
Yeah, this is perfect timing on your list because this is my number 4.
Oh, sweet. Cool.
Yeah, I am a lifelong slasher fan, and just when I thought I had seen every type of slasher movie, this one comes out, and not only is it a cool, different take on the slasher where you're basically attached to his shoulder the entire time, but this movie has some of the most gorgeous cinematography and fantastic sound design.
You can almost have it on when you're trying to get to sleep because it's just nature sounds when he's walking through the woods,
Absolutely, it's beautiful, and it's just that juxtaposed with what happens later on, because it's great because you see there's a bad slasher movie going on around him, but we don't hear any. We don't hear the majority of that.
We don't. Just the one time at the campfire we hear a little bit.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah, we just see him stumble upon these teens, and oh man, it's great.
This movie also has probably one of the best slasher kills of all time. The yoga girl on the cliff. We'll just leave it at that. Wow,
amazing.
I mean, amazing. Yeah. I saw this movie in the theater with Tim. Tim, a fellow movie club. We're in a movie club together with Tim, and we saw it together, and we were like, yeah, that was probably one of the best kills ever.
Yeah, talk about grotesque sound design and that scene too.
But it all worked perfectly, and like you said, it's a beautiful looking movie.
It is, and they're talking about a sequel. I don't know how they're going to.
I don't know how they do this. Yeah.
I'm really excited. He's immediately a new slasher icon, and we haven't had a big slasher icon in some time here. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Okay, so my number 4 then is a tie between 2 movies with the same themes, and and you probably know what I'm saying when I say that. The First Omen and what was the one with Sydney Sweeney? The
Immaculate.
Immaculate. Yes, of
Yep.
course.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah, but the two nun movies of 2024. One is a prequel to the Omen, which Keegan, I know you probably liked it a little bit more than me.
I did. It was just outside of my top five. It was on my honorable mention list because
It should be known that Keegan sees every horror movie, so he has a much bigger
I tried
curve.
to.
Yeah, my
Yep.
list is a lot shorter than yours for horror movies.
Yeah. Well, this one, like, I wasn't even excited to see just because I was, I thought to myself, what else can you show me from this franchise? This franchise has been dead for a long time. They tried the remake, and the remake, fell flat. So, I was not expecting much when I went in, and boy, was I surprised. There's a great scene where they make an homage to the movie Possession from the '80s. That is just an amazing piece of acting. Like, I love the lead actress in this. I forget her name.
Yeah, she was great in it. Yeah,
But hold on, I think I have it here. Nell Tiger Free.
Yeah.
She was fantastic in this movie, and I liked it just a little bit more than Immaculate. So
yeah. Yeah, Immaculate I liked a little bit more just because it was more that nunsploitation type of vibe to it, where she's
ending,
going
man.
crazy, and the ending is great, and Sydney Sweeney has a great set of lungs because she screams like, oh boy, that's
Yeah.
we talked about the killing and the violent nature. This was an all time scream because
Oh yeah.
as John Travolta would say in Blowout, great scream.
Good scream.
Good scream. Okay, what's your number? Are we up to your three, or did we miss
We're
that?
up to my number three.
Okay.
You're gonna hate me because I put this one on the list because I know how much you despise this movie. But my number three is It's What's Inside.
Oh yeah.
I freaking love this movie. Like, this was such an interesting take on, like, the drug horror film mixed with the whodunit, and it was
I just
just
didn't
like,
vibe, and it didn't vibe with me.
yeah, it was.
I probably
was
watched it the
Gen
wrong
Z
time of
all
day
over
or
the place.
something.
But yeah, man, I love this movie. Like, this was one where I was like, wow, this director is making his debut because, I mean, I was surprised that just got dumped on Netflix. Like, there was no real talk about it or anything.
It kind
I
of
had
really
heard
went
about
under
it.
the shadows. Yeah.
Yeah, and I only heard about it because of horror podcasts that I listened to, and I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. And I sat down and watched it and was not expecting what I got. And I really love this movie. Like, it was just a cool head trip with some really fun performances and a really kooky idea.
My wife Adrian liked it. She watched it separate from me one night, and yeah, she loved it too. So yeah,
Yeah.
I should give it another try. So probably what I'm saying. Okay, so my number three is a prequel that I'm really happy that worked because I really love the first two movies. A Quiet Place Day One.
Nice.
It was a fun blockbuster popcorn disaster action movie, and it was really it took a good twist on it where it was in New York. There's a cat in a supporting role should win an Oscar. If they had the pet Oscars.
Yep. Great cat performance.
But it's just a great story too, and the creatures still are scary. They're still suspenseful, and just to see what happens exactly on day one in a heavily populated area instead of out in the country like we were with John Krasinski and family. We're here with Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn. Is that his name?
Yep.
The soon to be
Eddie from Stranger Things.
Eddie, but he's the Human Torch. He'll be the Human Torch coming up here soon.
Oh, that's right. He's going to be the Human Torch. Yeah, man. I really enjoyed this one. I didn't like it as much as the first, but I liked it more than two. The thing that I liked about this is it was able to still really tell a human story, but a different type of human story because we already got the family dynamic in the first two films, and with not to give away spoilers, but with Lupita's position and everything, like it was just really interesting to tell that type of human story in a all out alien invasion.
Yeah,
and great ending too. Awesome ending.
It has very good ending. It has very shades of Walking Dead when it was at its best. Not
Oh,
not you not
100%.
not looking at it a whole, but like just the way that they focus in on the characters of the study of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are up to your number two.
My number two, which is probably on the number one on everyone's list for the most part. Number two for me is The Substance.
Okay.
Yep. Which this movie had me written all over it. Social commentary, body horror, an 80s actress giving probably the best performance of her career. You can tell. I mean, you could tell how much I love this movie because you were sitting next to me in the theater, but we were
So yeah, we all went because it was my pick for a movie club. Well,
Yep.
I think we always pick a theme, the five of us in our movie club, and it was women of horror. And this
Yep.
movie is of course very much about women. And I picked it, so we were all there, all row of us, and our significant others. And you, at the end of this movie, when it reveals itself to be, what it really is, you are howling with like excitement and like laughing, just because you were so excited about it. Like that was the most I've seen you excited in a movie probably since Little Women. That was probably the last time.
Yeah, that was an interesting theater experience. Yeah, man, like that's it's funny. Like I've been a horror fan for so long that now when a horror movie gets me or when it does something when it connects with me or does a throwback or homage to a film that I love, like it just makes me laugh and gets me giddy. Like I get pumped. Like it just gets me so excited. And man, there were so many moments in this movie that called back to classic body horror stuff. There was some Cronenberg stuff, some Frank Henenlotter,
And the
just
surreal world
even some early
also
Peter
made it.
Jackson stuff.
It made it
Like
kind of
there
feel
was,
80s too, with the surrealness of it and the stillness of
oh
it.
yeah,
And that
there's an 80s body horror film called Society that it cribbed from a lot, and yeah,
having her be a fitness star really makes you feel like it is set in the 80s, because it just,
yeah.
it's, you don't really have fitness stars today. I mean, you have influencers, but,
And I know that was a hang up for some people, but I loved the fitness star thing just because that kind of pushed the kind of satirical patriarchy, idea that they were really kind of forcing with the narrative. So it felt very satirical. So
yeah,
I kind of
yeah.
ran with it. Yeah. Yeah.
And
But
I mean,
man,
it's a dark comedy and body horror and
oh
yeah,
yeah.
fantastic
I was
performances.
But the funny thing is my favorite scene in the entire movie has no horror in it at all. It's the scene when Demi's character is getting ready to go on that date, and
Oh yeah,
that
yeah,
it's
yeah. In the
just some
mirror,
of the
yeah.
best like pure acting I've seen. Not just from her, but this year. Like that performance in front of the mirror was so good, and I was so happy to see her win a Golden Globe the other night, even though it is the Golden Globes and whatever. But it was awesome to see her get recognized.
Yeah, it's weird because she won over the Nora actress, who's like the favorite to win. So it's kind of weird that she
Yeah.
beat her in this category. So who
Mhm.
knows what that means? But man, a movie like The Substance winning any kind of an Oscar besides makeup effects is like shock. It would be shocking to me, but we'll
That's
see.
huge. And it's not outside of the realm of possibility just because I mean with Jamie Lee winning recently for Everything Everywhere All at Once, like that wasn't a horror film, but it was a genre film,
Yeah,
and she's Hollywood royalty too, so there's a possibility.
yeah, that's true. Good point. You're number one. Yeah, you're number one.
All
For
right, so my number one comes with a giant asterisk because I have not seen Robert Eggers' Nosferatu yet. I have a feeling that will become my number one movie released in 2024, horror related and probably just in general. But yeah, uh, have not gotten to see that yet. So this one, so my number one was a direct to Shutter release. I actually think it's considered a Shutter original. It's a film called Oddity, and I was really this and The Substance were really battling it out for number one, but I chose this one just because I've seen a lot of body horror and gruesome horror come out lately. I haven't seen a film like Oddity in a long time, which this one is just straight up atmosphere and dread the entire runtime. There is barely any gore. It's just all about building that creepy, scary atmosphere, that old dark house, something around the corner atmosphere, and just leaving the camera there and just letting your imagination as the viewer just go with it. And it's so expertly done. It's like I think there's like three main characters in the majority of the film, so you could tell it was filmed during COVID. But damn, does it work so well. It's just extremely
Nice.
well acted. An actress that plays twins, and both roles she just kills it. And there's a really creepy like wood cutout person that's almost like a golem type of thing. That's just one of the creepiest practical maquettes I've seen in a long time.
Wow.
And man, I say watch it late at night, lights off, sound up. Even put your headphones on so you get the full feel, because it's all about the sound design. And oh man, it's great. Yeah,
That sounds like
I've
a
been
nightmare.
recommending this movie, dude. I've been recommending this movie since I saw it, because it's so good, and it reminds me of like an EC Comics Tales from the Crypt story brought to life. Whereas like The Substance felt like a Tales from the Crypt 1980s episode, this oddity feels like a Tales from the Crypt like comic book story from the 1950s. Yeah,
Nice.
really. Yep.
I could count on you for picking a kind of a unconventional like pick for number one. But yeah, Shudder is really come on lately with their originals. It's just I mean, they're as common as Netflix originals. They pump out so many, and some of them are really good. Like Speak No Evil, the original.
Oh
The
yeah,
original one, yeah. So
yeah.
you can find some good ones. Yeah, my number one, of course, is my number one because it was my number one for the year in my previous video, Nosferatu. Yeah, it's gonna be your number one. Just knowing
I
you,
know.
Keegan. But yeah, it's just such a true story. I watched recently. Recently, I watched Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Coppola version, and
Love that movie too.
it's they're both those stories are the same, and it was fun to watch Coppola's version, which is much more sexier and more colorful and more over the top in all the best ways. Gary Oldman's
Grandiose. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Anthony Hopkins as Van Helsing is a treat to behold, but
So good.
Willem Dafoe is also a treat to behold in this, playing the more or less the parallel character to that.
Oh,
But
cool.
yeah, Nosferatu, amazing movie. Aaron Taylor Johnson was great. Lily Rose Depp was great, and yeah,
Mhm.
Bill Skarsgård, of course. Yeah, yeah. Can't wait for you to see it, Keegan.
Yeah, I'm so stoked to see it. I tried to go see it on Christmas Day, but yeah,
It just
wasn't.
couldn't escape. Okay.
Yep.
Well, soon you'll have Russell asking you to take you to a movie on Christmas Day, so don't worry.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I will oblige wholeheartedly.
um, when you watch this, Keegan, just like you said with Oddity, watch it late at night, turn off the lights, and blast the sound because the sound design's awesome, and
Yep.
the colors are amazing. It's very muted, black, dark colors, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna look great if you just shut it all off.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our list of the best of 2024. Let's look ahead to this coming year. This year, it looks like we're going to see a lot more movies because
Hmm.
of the strike being farther away. There's going to be a lot more, and there's a lot more franchise movies coming out, if you notice, too.
A ton. Yeah. I
Um,
did see that.
so let's go over our top five most anticipated horror movies for this coming year. What's your
Nice.
number five?
So my number 5 is going to be released soon, which is The Monkey.
Yeah,
Yep.
baby.
Yeah, Osgood Perkins.
Long Legs is
Dude,
back. What a lucky coincidence that he had another movie ready to go right after his most successful movie.
I mean, yeah, just that's so awesome that he's able to just ride that and be like, oh yeah, by the way, I have a movie coming out in like 6 months.
Because he's done a few other movies before this. Obviously, none that caught like Long Legs, but those were like a few years apart. So man, and
Yeah.
and to be a Steven Spielberg adaptation, and it looks like it's a totally different tone movie. It looks like the
I mean,
trailer is hilarious. It looks like a comedy, a horror comedy
and the
almost.
trailer's bonkers too. Like
Yeah.
it just looks all over the place. And I try to not watch horror trailers, but when I saw this one pop up, I was like, oh, I forgot about this. And yeah, I plan to read the short story before I see the movie because I do have the collection that it's in.
Yep. Yep.
So yep.
That
But
was on my list as well.
yeah.
Because we haven't seen these yet, we'll say that's on my number five as well. So,
Oh yeah, I guess it doesn't. Yeah.
yeah, but it's anticipation, excitement. But I'm definitely
Yep.
excited for that because I'm a Stephen King junkie. So, can't
Yeah.
wait. Okay, you're all right. That's our number fives. What's your four?
Okay, so my number four is it's the first feature from a this is kind of cool from a YouTube movie critic, pretty well known. His name is Chris Stuckman,
Hmm.
and he has a movie coming out. It hit a bunch of the horror festivals this past year. It's called Shelby Oaks, and it is a paranormal style found footage film. But everything I've heard about it is really, really great. Like fantastic glowing reviews from horror critics that I trust. So it should be seeing a wide release this year. So I'm really excited for that one.
Nice.
Yep.
Another underground pick that I couldn't find just doing light research. So
Yeah.
yeah, nice. Okay, my number four is Ryan Coogler's next movie, Sinners. Uh,
Yes.
this movie I think is really going to ride the coattails off of the popularity of Nosferatu, and we're going to get another vampire story. Uh, the trailer for this movie is awesome because it
Yep.
does not give away much at all. It sets atmosphere. It lets you know that Michael B. Jordan is playing himself and his twin. But
Mm-hmm.
other than that, you don't see. The trailer doesn't tell you it's a vampire movie. We just know because the press told, the release told us.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this looks awesome.
I'm I'm beyond excited to see Coogler do a horror film. Like he's so good at suspenseful sequences. So using that aesthetic, and it just looks because it's a period piece too.
Yeah, it looks like in the 20s
And
or 30s. Yeah,
yeah, so that's going to be great. And I'll watch Michael B. Jordan read the phone book. So
yeah.
I'm,
Well, especially when he's teamed up with Coogler, it's like it's one of the best dynamic duos since Scorsese DiCaprio. Uh,
dude. That first movie they did together, Fruitvale Station.
yep.
Man,
Fruitvale, Creed, Black Panther.
yeah,
Yep,
yep,
they're a dynamic duo. So yeah, super excited for Sinners. Looks really fun and
yep,
looks like a good, big, bold original movie, which has really got me excited.
yep.
Okay, so what's your number three?
My number three is another like kind of deep cut indie pick. It's another first time feature from a podcaster that I follow. His name is Elric Kane. He's on the Colors of the Dark podcast, and he also hosts the New Beverly podcast as well. So he's got Tarantino connections, but he's been working on this film for like the past 5 or 6 years, and it's called The Dead Thing. I don't know much about it, but this one also hit the horror festivals and everything, and positive buzz. He's a film professor. He's been doing film podcasts for the past like 10 years. So I'm actually really excited to see what he does for his first feature. So, yep, The Dead Thing.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay, my number three is The Bride.
Mm,
So this is Maggie Gyllenhaal's directing this movie. Christian Bale is the Frankenstein monster, and
awesome.
he's looking for love. And Jessie Buckley's the bride. It's set in the 1930s. So very interested to see what this movie is about. If it's going to be really horror, if it's going to be more of a moody period like character piece, or if it's going
Hmm.
to be gross. But uh, Christian Bale as Frankenstein monster. Very interested in this,
Yeah, I'm locked in.
and I really haven't seen Bale in anything that interesting in a few years. So and
Yeah, it's cool.
yeah, so that
So
one's
Maggie
more.
Gyllenhaal directing, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
She's directing, and Christian
Very
Bale,
cool.
Jesse Buckley, Penelope Cruz, and Annette Bening. So
Nice.
yeah, it's a nice cast. We'll see. This is more like I'm really curious to see because I haven't seen a trailer or anything for it. So
Yeah.
be interested to see what that is.
Yeah, I remember only kind of hearing that there was a Bride of Frankenstein film coming, but I didn't know too much about it. So yeah, that's awesome.
All right, number
Um,
number two for you.
my number two is They Follow. Let's go. We're getting a sequel after
Oh,
all
that's
these
right.
years. Yup. And I loved It Follows, and I'm really, really curious to see how they're going to expand this world and if it's going to be, similarly shot or how they're going to, kind of change it up. Very excited for this. I thought that was like that was such a big surprise when that first came out because I
Yeah.
started watching that movie and I was like, okay, this is what the hell? This camera's just rotating. What's going on here? But I became so invested in those characters, and when the violence happens in that movie, it's really jarring.
Yeah.
And I hope this one gets at least a little bit of that kind of magic that the first one had. So
I feel like it should. I really like the first one too. Yeah,
yeah,
it's moody, it's scary. Remind me of
hmm
Long Legs a lot too. The
totally,
look of
yeah,
it. So,
yep.
my number two is a little bit of a. I don't know if it's horror, but I think it's going to be. But the trailers kind of lead it not to be a Death of a Unicorn. Have you seen the trailer for this?
Yeah, dude, I'm really interested in this one.
It looks like a straight up comedy. You got a lot of great comedic actors or actors who can do comedy. Paul
Yeah,
Rudd, Jen Ortega, Richard E. Grant, Will Poulter, who looks like he's like the breakout of it from
yep,
the trailer, and Tay Leone. So blast from the past. So I haven't seen her in anything for a long
yeah,
time, but it looks funny. Like a dad and daughter hit a unicorn and hijinks ensue. It looks like more unicorns attack them. So it
yeah,
looks
man.
like
It
it,
looks fun. It's like got a dark humor tone to it, but I think it seems like it's gonna have some horror elements to it. So
and it
yeah,
looks like it's gonna be like taking digs at the pharmaceutical company or at least the rich people like that, almost like Succession style. So
totally.
it should be interesting. But yeah, that looks really funny, and I like a good a horror comedy. So all
Yeah.
right. I'm wondering if your number one's the same as my number one, but there's a lot of horror movies, and you've came up with a lot of deep cuts. So let's hear what your number one is.
My number one definitely is not your number one because it's another small film. It's going to be coming to Shutter. It's going to be a direct to Shutter release. But I've been awaiting this movie since I got the first book. So this is going to be an adaptation of the first book of what is currently a trilogy of books called Clown in a Cornfield.
Oh yes, okay, I have it here on my
Um,
short list. Yeah.
Yep. So basically, Adam Caesar, I found him through YouTube and started reading his books, and he writes the best. Like, best way to describe it is he writes the best 80s style horror films that you would stumble upon in the horror section at your mom and pop video store. Not Blockbuster, but a mom and pop video store. And this one is just great because it's his take on a town teen slasher where they are known for they produce this corn syrup, and the like mascot for that is this clown called Friendo. And but it has since the factory has since closed down and everything, and then all these teens start disappearing, and they see they're being stalked by this person in a Friendo mask. And it's kind of this cool meta take on a slasher, and I'm really excited to see how this transfers. It's the director is Eli Craig, who directed uh, Dale and Tucker versus Evil.
Okay,
So
so this is more comedic.
Tucker and Dale. It has comedic elements, but it's pretty straight. I mean, at least the book was pretty straightforward. So it was they played it pretty straight. But yeah, very excited for this one.
Nice. So this one it looks like is it a YA book or is it like is it like a
It's a teen.
Goosebumps Plus or something or you know?
No, it's a teen novel, and it's funny because like when Adam Caesar does interviews, he was like, yeah, in order to call it a teen novel, it just has to have teen protagonists. He's like, so I can have as many like beheadings and guttings as I want, as long as it's just
Teens in there. Yeah.
involving teens. So
Fair
yeah,
enough. Fair enough.
yeah, the book gets pretty gruesome. So yeah,
So my number one, I think I stayed on the mainstream train, and you ventured off into a cool indie record store vibe. But you still are gonna want to see this 28 years later.
yes,
Yeah, it's gonna be Danny Boyle back. Alex Garland, who did last year's Civil War, wrote this one just like he wrote the other ones. Ray Fiennes is in it, jacked up and all bloody.
hmm
the trailer again. These horror trailers for this coming year were just amazing. All the trailers were so suspenseful, and this one was amazing.
Did it take a lot for that movie to unsettle me as much as the trailer unsettled me? Because the trailer was so perfect.
It's this old like war poem, but the way that it's told with the record player playing and the beats of it is just it gets you on the edge of your seat, and it's just a trailer. So
and I love that it's Danny Boyle coming back. It's Alex Garland coming back.
And it's for a planned trilogy with new directors though, and the next one already comes out next January. So
which is cool. I love that idea where it's like, okay, I'm gonna set this up, and then we're gonna give it to another person to put their spin on it, because
and get it out right away before just tell your story.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm one of the 10 people that actually enjoyed 28 Weeks Later. I thought that was actually a pretty well-made movie, and
it was mid at best is what the consensus is.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
it was good.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our list of most anticipated horror movies. All right, buddy, thanks for being on here and talking horror with me.
Dude, this has been awesome. I can't thank you enough. I feel so like honored to be your first guest.
Well, you're going to be our Horrorspondent. Title still working on, asterisk.
It sounded okay.
Horrorspondent, yeah.
Horrorspondent.
Yeah. Not Horrorspondent, yeah. Well, anyway.
Horrorspondent.
Yeah. We'll see how it looks. We'll see, because I'll give you your title on the screen there when I edit the video. So we'll see
awesome.
when you become. But we'll have you on next time. Maybe we'll like midpoint of the year. We'll talk about what has come out so far when you've got a chance to see them. So
yeah, absolutely.